Today we are at OceanaGold's Macraes mine here on the South Island. This is located in the Otago region, which is a very historic district for mining. This mine's been open since the 90s, and over the 30 plus years it's been open, it's produced over 5 million ounces of gold. Today it's both underground and open pit, so they have multiple pits and 2 underground operations. But we're going to get an inside look at what it takes to mine gold here in New Zealand. We're going to look at the pit, look at the maintenance shop, and have a quick look at the mill and the crusher as well. So stay tuned for a tour inside New Zealand's gold mine. Easiest way to tell you're in mining country? Reverse parking. That is the standard on all mine sites. If you ever see these signs, beware. 777s are larger nearby. We are here. We are going down here into Fraser's pit, but they've got multiple pits on the property, all surrounded by beautiful farmland and then the Macraes township. So the mine's in a very pretty area, but yeah, quite a good footprint of both open pit and underground. So excited, we're gonna head down into this pit here. All right, let's go look at this thing. You know it's a big machine when it comes with its own ladder, but this is New Zealand's largest EV and the latest addition to the fleet here at Macraes mine. This is an EX3600-7E, so E stands for electric. So Hitachi offers this in both diesel and electric. The only difference being, instead of diesel in this, there's a 1200 kilowatt electric motor that drives all the hydraulic pumps. So the machine is pretty much the same as a diesel, but it's electrically powered. Everything else from the engine bay forward is pretty much identical to a diesel machine. So it's just the way you configure the power source. But let's have a walk up, have a look. You know it's a big machine when you can walk around on it easily. Hydraulic pumps, and then in here is the, get this in 2 hands here. Oh, there we go. The electric motor's in there. It's just dark in there, so there's not much to see, but take my word, there's an electric motor in there. As you'll notice, as we come up top, no exhaust stacks. So again, this is as green as it gets here, folks. I've got a hydroelectric dam powering this thing. This machine is a fine example of OceanaGold's initiative to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions or their carbon footprint from the Macraes operation by acquiring electric shovels like this. As you can see, no exhaust. It's just one big platform. Roomy. Fit a party of 20 up here quite well. Anyway, this is the cab on the 3600. Pretty standard cab for Hitachi shovels, track pedals, 360 cameras, engine vitals, all that. Pretty standard. Hitachi makes a real nice shovel. So yeah, unfortunately it's not working today, but give us a good chance to get up close and check it out. New Zealand's largest EV. Beautiful view down to the front of the shovel, so the operator can see his trucks and see his active face. Well, this electric shovel is powered by this cable. This is called a trailing cable, which is just a fancy term for a big extension cord. This cable runs all the way to the mine's power grid. What's really interesting about this shovel is it's actually powered by a hydroelectric dam at Lake Aviemore. So this is as green as it gets in mining. You've got an electric shovel digging gold ore, so it's a critical metal, but it's also powered by a hydroelectric dam, so you got a pretty green energy supply. It's called a bird's nest or bird's cage. So when the shovels work in the face, if he wants to move a little bit, but his cable doesn't allow, he can actually pick this up with one of the teeth of the bucket and kind of mind or move his own cable. And if he were to move to a completely new location on the mine, then he'd have to actually get a machine, which we'll look at, to come and move the cable. But this allows him to kind of move around a little bit without having too involved process. This is where the trailing cable or big extension cord comes in to the shovel, and this is sort of a bit of a device that allows it to manage itself or mind itself. This is a front shovel. For some reason, Australians and Kiwis love their backhoes. Us Canadians love our front shovels. If you come to Canada, pretty much everything's in a front shovel configuration, but they run a lot of backhoes out here. So when the shovel has to move a greater distance than it could using the bird's nest in the active phase, so you had to jump to another phase, they use this tractor to mind or move the cable with the shovel, because being electric, it can't propel on its own. It has to have the cable attached to it. So they just hook it up like this and drag the cable along, and there's another attachment in the back, but it's a bit more of an involved process. So if the shovel can stay in one spot and be productive, that's preferred over moving it with the tractor. Trucks, the dump bodies, they're Austin Ultima series dump bodies. They're actually painted different colors. That one's pink for breast cancer. There's a blue one for prostate cancer. So they paint them to celebrate causes, to support causes such as cancer, so prostate or breast cancer. They run a big 789 fleet here of C and D trucks. We're actually going to get to have a look at some of the C trucks that TerraCat rebuilt to a brand new or D series or greater trucks. Alright, let's go look some ore.
Orange or green, something like that. Yep. Yeah.
So this stuff here would be right here, broken up around here. This is some of the ore they mine here at Macraes mine. This is a schist. It's a type of metamorphic rock. So the ore here is hosted in the Hyde Macraes shear zone. So this ore contains pyrite and arsenopyrite, which hosts the gold. There isn't large chunks of visible gold here. It's all disseminated in the rock. So to get an ounce, a gold bar, a gram, whatever it is, out of this rock, they have to move a lot of it, hence the large shovels and large trucks. So this averages about 1 to 1.5 grams per ton. Again, it depends where they are in the mine, but overall that's kind of the grade. So high tonnage, low grade deposit. It's an orogenic style gold deposit, so it's associated with mountain building, which is two plates colliding and one subducting under the other. So that's how you get the orogenic gold. And it's all hydrothermal fluids that come up and precipitate the minerals that host the gold. So this is the ore. Just looks like a plain old rock if you really don't know what you're looking at. But that's the stuff. Markings on the ground. The purple is ore, and the blue is waste. They actually selectively dig out the ore in this area. He's following these markings and sending the trucks either to the ore, to the crusher, or to the waste dump. It's not just take it all and send it to the crusher. It's a rather selective process in this area of the pit. So waste, ore, waste, behind me, these are the 789s that TerraCat helped rebuild in partnership with Oceana and Caterpillar. So OceanaGold here at Macraes runs a fleet of 789C and D trucks. There was a handful of trucks, C-Series trucks delivered in 2002. They ran till about 2015 and they were parked up with 60 to 70,000 frame hours on them. They were kind of left in the scrapyard. Parts have been scavenged. Everything was exposed to the elements. There were birds living in the cabs. So in 2022, Oceana wanted to rebuild 3 of them. So they partnered with Terra and Caterpillar to rebuild 3 789Cs up to a D or greater spec. So these trucks were taken off site, the frames were stripped down, inspected, repaired, and then everything was built back up from there using Cat reman components, some of which were sourced from Caterpillar, some of which were rebuilt by TerraCat at their CRC or Christchurch Rebuild Center in Christchurch. So all rebuilt with Cat reman components, complete with Austin Ultima dump bodies versus an OEM dump body. So with those, it's a bit lighter dump body, you get a bit of extra payload, and it's actually got a V shape to it, so it centers the load in the dump body as well. What's neat about these trucks is instead of going back to a 789C spec, which has a 3516B engine, they upgraded them to a D spec, which is a 3516C model, which is 2100 horsepower. So the frame was all reused, the engine was upgraded to a 3516C, the driveline was upgraded to accommodate the higher horsepower, higher torque. And what's neat is they actually had to lengthen the front frame a bit because the 3516C uses an air-to-air aftercooler, which is in front of the radiator, versus the 3516B, which uses an air-to-water aftercooler on top of the engine. They actually lengthened the front frame to accommodate all that. Up on top, we've got a D-Series cab, so it's upgraded to a more modern cab. It had to be recertified to a C-Series truck. And a lot of the architecture in here, electrical, is from a C-Series truck talking to D-Series components. So it really is a CD crossover. So at the start of the program, there was 2 options. They could rebuild or they could buy new. Buy new comes with lead time. Caterpillar sells 789s all over the world. So getting these trucks comes with lead time and a larger cost versus rebuilding. So Caterpillar helped, in conjunction with Terra, helped OceanaGold get a truck for a fraction of the cost, which is as good as new with a Cat warranty. And it's a real testament to the Caterpillar Equipment's built to be rebuilt motto. What better to take trucks that were once scrap and rebuild them to this status, which Oceana can depend on here at Macraes. So really excited to see these trucks. Bench here that they're going to be actively mining after they blast it. So in order to mine it, they have to break the rock or blast the rock. They drill a pattern, which is a bunch of drill holes marked by cones here, which cap the hole. They're then filled with explosives and then blasted, and you create blasted rock or muck or shot rock, depending on what you refer to it as. And that allows the 3600 to then dig out the ore or the waste, haul it to the crusher or to the dump. see for scale, there's a Ute, as they call it here, and then 789. So there's the size comparison. And that one again has the hand safety dump body on it that's painted white with the hands to promote hand safety. And there's the 990 tucked in there too. You don't see 990 too often. Saudi.
Saudi, short for Sodbuster and nothing else.
We're here with Saudi, aka Sodbuster, and he's going to tell us about when we were down at the pit. There was a 3600.
Yep,
3600-6 backhoe with the idler out, and the operator actually noticed an issue and caught it. But Saudi, please tell me what I'm looking at here.
Right, so that's the yoke assembly between the idler and the track adjuster. And basically what's happened is the guys have got into a corner doing ore, into a tight area where they cannot walk off tumblers first, and had to come off idler first, which you usually get away with. And unfortunately they've come off too steep and split the yoke.
Yeah.
So basically it's the old story. Big hills, big thrills, big spills, big hospital bills. This yoke here is actually one that we've actually cast here in New Zealand, because the OEM ones, or the original manufactured ones, don't last. And with the Dash 6 excavators, they're all satellite monitored and controlled. So every time there's a track tension over pressurization alarm, it's sent back via Japan, back to us.
Oh.
Okay, so we can see it and record all that. And this unfortunately is a non-warranty issue, if that makes sense. So you can't claim warranty on this component. It's basically a consumable, but it's just the downtime and everything else you've got to.
So you guys make this cast?
We make that casting here in New Zealand. So we haven't broken one of those for about 10 years since we replaced the last one, to give you an idea.
There's a way to break it, it'll happen.
Oh yeah, you did right. Anything's able to be broken. Yeah.
Tire manipulator. It's a wheel loader with a custom attachment on it that you grab tires and it can rotate them when it's got them. But they use it for moving tires around. They set them up in the stand here and they're looking to inspect them, whether they're new or used, and put rims on them. But having a large fleet of haul trucks means having a large maintenance facility, but also having a large tire facility, because tire wear is one of the largest costs of owning a large haulage fleet. That's one of the tools for moving around these massive tires. Every maintenance manager who's watching this right now gets sweaty palms when I say big rocks on haul road. But this is what happens when you get a rock that's abnormal size in the haul road. You get damage to the tire. But Macraes mine is one of the few mines that repairs their own tires in-house, just based on their location and the fact they can do it to extend the life of the tire. As you can see, there's lots of tread left in the tire, but this portion was damaged, so they're actually adding rubber back on and then treating it so that it can be sent back out in the field and put back on the haul truck.
5. So this one in particular had a rock jam in between the tread. And then all I do is I tidy up the cables, I get texture with my tools, and then I start filling it in with rubber again. Each layer is individually stitched in using a stitcher, so it takes obviously a long time. Yeah, so this one in particular is probably around 6 to 7 hours to complete.
This is the tire repair workshop. Oceana has their own repair shop here at Macraes mine, where they work on all the tires for 789s, wheel loaders, anything that runs on rubber. So any gashes, slices, or anything like that, they'll try and repair to get the most out of the haul truck haulage fleet tire life. They partner with GTS, or Global Tire Solutions, their contractor, to do all the repairs on these tires. But maintaining a large fleet means maintaining a large fleet of tires, and it's important that they get the most out of each tire, not only from a sustainability perspective, but from a cost perspective, because each one of these tires is $52,000 New Zealand dollars. So it's a big investment and they want to get the most out of it safely. So that's why they have an on-site repair facility. I'm pretty big, but that's a big tire. I'm 2 meters tall, just for reference. Big tire. This is the third time signing in today. Every place we visit, we sign in and out. So shop, open pit, now the mill. wheel loaders feed the jaw crusher behind me here. It's reduced down, and this conveyor belt takes it to the next step in the process. But this is all gold ore from the pit, which we just saw, headed to the plant to get crushed up into even smaller rock. And they'll do on average here about 19 to 20,000 tons per day they'll process at this particular mill. What's kind of neat about this mill is everything's open to the air, versus in Canada we all have everything's enclosed, every conveyor, every mill, every pipe, because of weather. But out here it's all open to the elements, which is really unique. Yeah, there it is, gold ore. New Zealand gold ore. We couldn't really explain everything there because it's loud, and we're trying to take in all the knowledge from our tour guide, who was wonderful in taking us through the entire process. But we start with the wheel loaders feeding the surge material into the primary crusher, which is a jaw crusher. Our second stage is a grinding circuit, so we go through a sag mill, semi-autogenous grinding, which uses rock on rock and media on rock. So these ball bearings here, which are quite large. And then we move over to a ball mill, which uses these ball bearings to then, again, size our material even finer. The next stage is flotation. We've got to extract the precious metals in which we want from the rest of the medium, which is waste or tailings. From there, we go over to our autoclave. Once we've got a float, that goes to the autoclave. Then we go to pressure oxidation, which again is the autoclave. Carbon and leach circuit is next, which helps extract the gold from there. And then we do electrowinning to get the gold out and pour doré bars right on site. The gold that's produced here is used in medicine and industry, uses doré bars to hold the value, jewelry, and everyone's favorite, the iPhone, which everyone uses every day. So gold like this that they produce here is used in items that make your everyday life possible. So turning big rock into little rock and getting gold out. That's what we do here at Macraes. So big thank you to OceanaGold for hosting us today. They have taken time out of their day to host us in the pit, the plant, and the maintenance shop to give us an inside look at what it takes to mine gold here in New Zealand. So again, big thank you to their team, and thank you to everyone who hosted us today and all the great people we met. So.